Alright, so this is gonna be somewhat of a slightly different video. It's me playing a tune. I did this for a while, not very recently, but before that I just put up a couple of videos, just tunes that I like playing, and I'm still not really there, but I always love the idea just to play a tune with the guitar, not with a backing track, not with a metronome, just kind of the most bare bone, the most real is a stupid word because the other stuff's real too, but kind of the most simplistic version of just making music with the guitar and a tune that you like. So I did a couple of these, but I'm not Joe Pass, so I kind of, every time I have to kind of a few things prepared, and there's always, in every tune there's like a certain thing I'm really struggling with, and I thought I'd make this little video series now from when I play a tune to just highlight a thing I'm probably still struggling with, but maybe something I was struggling for a long time and then found a way to deal with it, not not totally erasing the struggle, but kind of a way to navigate. And the tune I'm playing in this video is Someday My Prince Will Come, which is a beautiful tune. It's one of my favorite kind of 3/4 jazz standards, for many reasons. But there was this chord progression in the I don't know if you can call it bridge, but kind of the second part of the A, where it goes like D minor 7, D flat diminished, C minor 7, and F7. So it's kind of a 3 chord in the key of B flat. It's a 3 chord that's kind of a flat 3 diminished. It's a 2 and it's an F. And when I was studying jazz, I always struggled with that diminished chord, and I still struggle with diminished chords. I think a lot of people, I struggle with this one in particular because I couldn't make sense of it. I always felt it should be at the diminished chord that's kind of a dominant. If you play for a while, you're aware that, let's say if you, for example, have a G7 chord, like a G sharp diminished and A flat diminished chord is kind of serves as the function of the G7 chord with a flat 9. So that kind of, often you see this resolving into like the C minor in this case. So I always felt like this D flat diminished chord, I always felt it shouldn't be a D flat diminished chord. It should be like kind of something along the lines of the A flat, like something that has the function of a G leads into a C. So you would have like a 3, 6, 2, 5 in that tune. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's a D flat diminished, and if you think of that as a dominant, even if you go through the axis of the diminished chords, you have like, it could be a D flat, could be an E, it could be a G, or it could be a B flat. So if anything, it could be like a B flat diminished, could be like an A7, but that doesn't really lead to the C minor 7, at least not for my ears at the start. But then people told me through lessons and through listening a bit, and also kind of through the obvious, this chord here is related in the diminished axis with a couple other diminished chords as well, and one of them being like a minor 3rd down is B flat. Okay, that's kind of our 1, the key center. It's a fairly common thing in old jazz tunes, like Stella by Starlight starts with that, with a 1 diminished chord. That still, like, that still leaves you struggling with the diminished chord and the sound of that and how to deal with that. And that's probably something for another day. But what it really helped me to see is kind of, there's a couple ways you don't have to kind of freak out that much. I think of a very simplistic form. I think of this D minor, the 3 chord, is kind of a substitution for the 1 chord. So you can kind of play B flat major. I probably should hold this here, like this here. I kind of think of B flat major. And then this here, I kind of think of B flat minor or B flat diminished. So the change, for me, the changing note here that is very important is kind of the B flat to D for the major and B flat to D flat for the minor. And that kind of, it gives that sound a little bit, like when you go I probably should play that better, like So that's kind of how I think of it, as the one diminished chord, which it is, and probably that's no news for you. It took me a long time to even think of it. It still, as I said, it still leaves you struggling with a diminished chord in the first place. But at least if you think about it as the one, you don't have to think of another chord. You just think, okay, D minor 7 is the third chord. That's one major functionally, and then the next chord is D flat diminished. That's kind of one diminished or one minor. If you think of the first two notes of the chord, so that kind of sound change really helps me to make sense of that passage. Obviously, there's all the other stuff you can still play, like the like stuff like that going down. But this is by no means a rule. It's just a thought I had with this tune, because I struggled a lot with it in the past, and maybe it helps you. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you like more of that. I'm going to do a couple more anyway, but hopefully you get something out of this. Thank you for listening. Cheers.